All right, I couldn't wait to bring you this week's conversation because it is one that will literally transform your life. The number of people who are being affected by today's conversation would blow your mind. Welcome to MX Conversations, a brand new week. I hope your week is going great. You know, we always start this show with some positivity, making sure that you're hanging in tight and you're doing the things that you absolutely love. And so I'm sending you love and light if you're having a difficult week. Everything that has a beginning will definitely have an end. Whatever you're going through that might not be something that's desirable, just know that it will definitely come to an end one day, and that day might be today. So keep up a smile, have some hope, and just hang on. Everything is going to be all right. Tell your friend that we're live with Conversations on MX24 and they don't want to miss it, because this week we're talking mental health. I have 1,001 questions for our guest that I'll be talking to pretty soon. But, you know, before we get into the real conversation, we need to go do a quick commercial break. When I'm back, we jump into the conversation of mental health with somebody that knows all about mental health. Grab your friend, grab your notepad. Please make sure you don't watch this particular episode like you watch the other ones. This one is definitely going to change your life. I'll be back after this commercial break right here on MX24. Stick and stay. All right, welcome back from that commercial break. Now, guys, I want you to take a seat and I want you to take this particular conversation very, very seriously. Right here in Ghana, we have a whole month that is dedicated to mental health awareness. That's the month of May. That's my birthday month. I'm always aware of this particular month. Yet, it's almost a taboo topic in Ghana. At best, it is something that we speak about in shroud, limitations. Nobody really wants to touch it. It is sensitive. It's almost as though we're relegating it to something that touches only the bees. You know, when you say you're depressed or when you say you're stressed out, we've normalized a lot of these things that we shouldn't be doing. There's a lot of pressure on the youth to be able to achieve. There's a lot of pressure on social media with all of the comparisons that are going on. How is this impacting the mental health of everyday people like you and I? Now, to help me do this, Dr. Emmanuel Asampong is a clinical psychologist and senior lecturer at the School of Public Health, University of Ghana, and he is joining me. Welcome to the show, Doc.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. I am a 2014 alumni of the University of Ghana. It's such an honor to meet a senior lecturer from there. You guys shaped us to be here today, so I salute you for that and for the amazing job you're doing at the university level. Doc, I want us to have a very practical conversation today about mental health. The first probably where we will start from is when we speak about mental health. What is the basic concept? What are the basics? Mental health 101 that anybody needs to know, Doc?
So essentially, you're looking at somebody who is stable, emotionally, who, at the end of the day, would have contributed something productively to the environment or society at large. At large. So you are also looking at somebody who isn't in any kind of difficult situation with people that he interacts with, he or she interacts with.
Yeah.
So I mean, typically you are looking at somebody who is emotionally stable and at the end of the day is able to be productive.
Amazing. Now, Doc, you are well-traveled, well-vexed in this subject matter. How different is it, the way we treat mental health in Ghana as compared to how it's treated elsewhere in different parts of the world?
Right. So the challenge is that, I mean, in our part of the world, I mean, like you rightly said from the beginning, it's a topic that is hardly discussed.
Yeah.
Once you talk about it, then the thinking is that perhaps, I mean, it's, I mean, some kind of a mark on you.
Yeah.
So typically we always would discuss mental health issues in a way that kind of like reinforces some kind of stigma or fear. And so for that reason, people tend to shy away from, talking about it. They
Yeah.
would rather be quiet and bear whatever difficulties it come with. I mean, in silence.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody wants to be labeled as, for want of a better word,
A
crazy.
mad person. Yeah.
So people would rather be quiet, and I think that is the unfortunate thing that we find in our part of the world. Elsewhere, they are more open about it. The systems are there, the structures are there. People know exactly where to go at what point in time. I mean, these are services that are within reach, for such people. Resources, even though we say that generally mental health tends not to have a lot of resources, but in those parts of the world, you can say that there is quite an appreciable amount of resources that is allocated to them, and therefore they are able to address issues that pertain to mental health better than we are able to do in our part of the world.
Absolutely. And that is something that we should be able to work on to change, Doc, or don't you think so? What would be
Right.
what would be some of the practical things we can do to start seeing some kind of changes in the way we're treating this?
Right. So let me acknowledge
Yeah.
that, I mean, with the coming into being of the Mental Health Act somewhere in 2012, I mean, honestly, mental health has expanded tremendously, I mean, in Ghana. Let me be quick to admit that, of course, there is more room for improvement.
Yeah.
I want to say that on the research front, for example, there's quite a lot that is going on. I mean, for one, I mean, I'm a co-PI, and by that I mean a principal investigator in a project in Tamale that we're looking at children and adolescent mental health. I mean, it's been running for 5 years now.
Wow.
And what we are finding, it's amazing. I mean, clearly, it shows that indeed young children are experiencing behavioral challenges for which reason we need to pay attention to them. In fact, this is a bigger study that was conducted in the US,
Yeah.
and we wanted to see how it can be replicated in parts of Africa.
Yeah.
So there is one ongoing in Kenya, and of course in Ghana. And this we have, I mean, titled, I mean, giving it, christened it, if you like, as Smart Africa. And Smart Africa is simply strengthening mental health related research and training. And in all these countries, the realization is that there are differences as you move from one country to the other. And essentially, what we are trying to do is to roll out an intervention program we call the multifamily therapy, multifamily group therapy. We roll it out and we see the kind of impact. In the US, when it was done, the impact was great. So the idea is that how are we able to adapt it in our part of the world, taking into account our contextual issues, and then what is it that we can do? And already the results that we are seeing are amazing. What it means is that our people here are facing challenges.
Yeah.
And I think it is about time we intensified the effort. So like I said, there is quite a lot being done.
Yeah.
But of course, there will always be room for improvement.
Absolutely. Now, let's break this down. I personally am quite active in the social space, especially with young people. In the last few, let's say, in fact, I think the pandemic is what really highlighted it. We realized that depression was really on the rise in young people. Quite recently, we're beginning to see something called a bipolar disorder, which a lot of people are treating with so much stigma. What are some of the basic forms of mental health disorders that don't necessarily need to be tagged as crazy or mad or cuckoo that we should know about, so that we can then look at what can be done about it as well?
So, I mean, seriously speaking, there isn't any kind of condition that can be termed as mad. I guess, I mean, those are derogatory terminologies that we use,
Yeah.
and that also tend to, as it were, form as a barrier for people, not wanting to seek the needed help.
Yeah.
So typically, you and I mean, on a normal day, sometimes we'll feel down.
Yeah.
And in our down moments, what it means is that things are not okay.
Yes.
So we cannot, be said to be emotionally stable when things are down for us.
Yeah.
So if it is that when we find ourselves in those states and people or nobody can refer to us as mad,
Yeah.
then we shouldn't do so when other people also find themselves in similar
Wow.
situations.
Wow.
Having said that, what I think is quite common, especially for the young ones,
Yeah.
is that they also have needs to satisfy. Unfortunately, the thinking is that, but these are young ones. What is it, that they have to do?
Yeah.
I mean, it's somebody who is providing for them. But they also go through their own peculiar, circumstances that actually generate some kind of stresses for them. And so at a point where they are not able to deal with those stresses that come to them, then it moves into something else. So, I mean, ultimately, if they are not able to handle all these challenges that come their way,
Yeah.
then it gets to the point where they feel helpless.
Yeah.
They think that they cannot do anything about that situation anymore.
Yeah.
And therefore, hopelessness also sets in. And that is the point where one can say that, yes, they will be getting to that depressive level.
Yeah.
And then for sometimes you see them very high, sometimes they are low.
Low.
That's where the bipolar issues
Kicks in.
come in.
Yeah.
And so when they are not able to deal with all these things, then typically they begin to contemplate suicide.
Yeah.
And sometimes they do that just to attract attention to themselves.
Yes.
That, look, this
Yes.
is what I'm going through.
Yes.
Can somebody help me? And sometimes you just don't need any kind of material assistance. It's just asking them, is everything okay? Just to give them that opportunity to open
speak
up
out, yeah.
and then vent out. Once they do, then they are fine. For those who unfortunately do not get that kind of assistance, then it means that they are in that situation for a long time, and then they get to the point where they think that it is not worth living. Life is not worth it. And unfortunately, we do have many of them who now move into actualizing what they had taught earlier. And some of them, unfortunately, commit suicide.
Wow. Doctor, what are some of the changes that you would love to see generally in our country in terms of our approach in addressing mental health, especially for younger people?
So, because of where I'm coming from, I would first of all say that there is the need for us to conduct very serious research, get to know what the issues are on the ground. And that's how come I am particularly excited about the study that we conducted in northern Ghana, Tamale to be specific, Smart Africa Ghana. And already we have, some indicators that are pointing to the fact that, yes, there are challenges. But of course, we also had the opportunity to roll out the multi-family group therapy. It's an intervention that lasted for like 16 weeks. And then again, we are realizing that, yes, it's gotten very good impact on them.
Yeah.
So for something like this, is it that it can be taken up and replicated
scaled
in other parts of the country?
Yeah.
Because then if it's been proven to work, what it means is that, yes, we can adopt it in other parts of the country and then roll it out so that, I mean, we will have all our children, I mean, in school going, who are in, I mean, primary schools, getting to the point where at least they will be able to handle some of those things. That's one. Now, secondly, there is the need for us to also engage in very serious health communication activities. And by that, what it means is that everybody is coming on board.
Yeah.
So yes, we will have the environmentalists, for example, who also have something to do with health. We will have psychologists who definitely will also have something. And for all these different categories of professionals, if they are bringing in their part and actually communicating the health-related issues in respect of their professions, then we should be making, some good inroads. It's also important that we have schools who have, the opportunity to provide psychological counseling, for children. Because look, I keep saying that these children are future leaders.
Yeah.
And therefore, we need to get it right with them right from the beginning. It's always the case that when the foundation is good, then you are sure that building on it is really not going to pose much of a problem in future.
Yes.
And so we need to have these services available for the children. Yes, I know that there is the school health education program. Yes, coordinators are there in some of the schools. But we do know that these same coordinators also happen to be doing teaching and doing other kinds of things.
Wow. Yeah.
So the question becomes whether they are able to attend to, if you like, those needs of the children. And so if it is possible and there can be, some kind of a directive to ensure that, yes, because of the trend of things, we will have these coordinators who will solely devote their time to attending to some of these challenges among the children. I want to believe that will help. Now, what we know is that the Mental Health Authority, it's more like the superintending body as far as mental health issues are concerned.
Yes.
Are they well resourced? I mean, I do know that, yes, they have the personnel. Professionals who are there. Can they be given what it takes, the requisite resources to enable them provide the kinds of services, or even to ensure that whatever plans that are there are implemented right? Yes, we also know about Basic Needs Ghana. That is also, at the forefront of mental health activities. They are doing well. So for all these bodies, what is it that we are able to do in terms of supporting them to ensure that they are able to, as it were, affect, the mental health of people in the country? And quite apart from that, let me add that, yes, anywhere there is the opportunity to kind of like reach out to people, we should be able to do that.
Absolutely.
And so your outlets, key. And it's good you are doing this. Now, where else? The churches, are they able to, as it were, reach out to people? And this is where perhaps I want to put in and emphasize that perhaps we need to have religious leaders also devoting time to improving emotional and mental well-being of their members. This is very, very important.
Absolutely.
And I keep saying that, yes, of course, the word of God, what we need to do is to ensure that we are making it very real, very practical, relating it to the lives of people.
Yeah.
Because I keep saying that if people are emotionally stable, then trust me, their religious life is likely to be improved.
Absolutely.
And so these are some of the areas that we need to pay attention to. And perhaps I should be on record to say that this is the time we need to pay serious attention to the mental health needs of the people.
Absolutely.
Yes, because if we are able to do that, then we are sure that as a people, as a country, success is waiting for us.
Yes.
Otherwise, I don't want to be
the bearer of doom. Look, Doc,
Exactly.
I am absolutely blown away. I think for me, the point that stood out amongst all of this is if you look at the stigma and then looking at your professional definition, all of us at one point in every other day or every other week have some level of ups and downs in our mental health.
Sure. You're very right.
That's absolutely, for me, that's life changing. The way I approach the subject has changed forever. And those sets of, suggestions on what can be done, the work you guys have done in the North and how we should replicate and scale it is absolutely outstanding. Thank you so much for the work you're doing. Thank you for your time. I'm sure that our outfit would put a lot more emphasis on this, and we'll reach out to you to see what we can do in terms of the sensitization and making sure more and more people hear about it. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you. Now, if you watch this episode, I hope that this has helped you. We are all managing the health of our mental and emotional states on a daily, on a go. Do not let anybody stigmatize you into thinking or believing that you are mad. There's no such thing as Dr. Emmanuel said as mad. Technically, any level of struggle you're having with the health of your mental and emotional state has some interventions that can be put into place. He has called out all various stakeholders to come in and help us deal with this. This thing is becoming rampant. Social media is making it worse. We need to take this issue very seriously. I hope this conversation has helped you, is giving you the perspective that you needed to be able to have a better state of mental health. I'll be back after this commercial break. I wish I knew this information to help certain people in my life way earlier. So this conversation has hit me at a very soft spot. When I'm back from the commercial break, I would need the vim that I'm giving you for my week. Stick and stay. MX24, MX Conversations. All right, welcome back from that commercial break. Mental health and how it affects young people across the world, and especially here in Ghana. This conversation has really hit me. So I definitely need this week's vim. I need the vim. I need to mature up, and so before I go, like we always do on conversations, I would give you a motivational video of the week. We know that sometimes your mind can be its own battlefield, and sometimes the enemy is not without, it is actually within. And when your own mind is what is fighting against you, what do you do? That would be the content of this week's motivational video of the week. I hope that it helps, it charges you up. I hope that it fires you up so that whatever it is that you're going through, the demons you're fighting that you're not able to talk about, the internal struggles that nobody can touch because they are not tangible, you will have some energy to be able to deal with them. I will be back same time next week with another episode of MX Conversations right here on MX24. Always, like I say, bring in your suggestions, your questions, the kinds of topics you want me to treat, the kinds of experts that you want me to grab for us to talk to about the things that are bothering you. And you can do that through our social media at MX24GH across all platforms. We will make sure to pick that up because these conversations are packaged just for you and to help you. Enjoy the rest of the week. Shalom, peace be with you. Go out there and live your life on your own terms. Enjoy the rest of the week. Cheers, guys.